Service back to the Mustangs. Emily Harris serving as libero. Good evening to those of you joining us virtually on YouTube or the NFHS network. Welcome to Mustang Arena, where we are proud to bring you JV volleyball action tonight between the Evans Trojans and the Wekiva Mustangs. A special treat tonight. Ordinarily, we are only able to get the varsity game streamed live. However, all the pieces came together for us to join this JV contest, which has just started. Evans off to a good start, leading 6-2. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 3, Eileen De La Rosa. De La Rosa caught off guard there, but she's able to recover it. Mustangs get it over for a free ball for the Trojans. Mustang kill by Melania Salas. Service returns to Wekiva. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 9, Isabella Rivera. And she'll have the next service. And so Madeline Holmes comes out. Mustangs trailing 3-6, still early here in the JV contest. This is match number 1 in a best-of-3 match. And a miscommunication there gives an easy point to the Trojans. We'll have a substitution here and libero service for the Trojans. Concepcion had a nice idea there, but it's a little off target outside the sideline, and the Trojans up to an 8-3 lead now. The Mustangs having a not too bad district season so far. Earlier, they played West Orange on the road and lost 3-1, but that pickup of a set is the first set that they've picked up in many, many years, if perhaps ever, against a team that is a perennial state powerhouse. Service returns to the Mustangs. Next in the rotation for Wekiva, number 2, Jenna. And so the Mustangs started off 0-1 in spite of the fact that they actually considered that in many ways a moral victory because they did perform well in that contest. Next, they played Apopka at home and for the first time in school history defeated the Blue Darters. The Darters having a tough year, and the Mustangs are perhaps showing some more consistency that they have in past seasons, and as a result they were able to defeat the Blue Darters in straight sets 3-0, although the final set went down to the wire with a 28-26 victory in the final set. That put the Mustangs at a 1-1 record so far for the year. Service back to the Trojans. And the Trojans will pick up an unchallenged ace there. The Mustangs just not able to communicate and get the coverage assigned on that service. And so they'll go down by 6 now. So the Mustangs with a win here could end up with a winning district record. Another ace there as De La Rosa is not able to get under it in time. The Mustangs will request their first timeout of set number 1. Make sure you give him a call and let him know. And welcome back to Mustang Arena. We've reached the end of the timeout. Mustangs taking their first timeout there. And before we get back to live action, checking in for the Mustangs, Ashley Robinson. Trojans called into the net. Service back to the Mustangs. Next to serve for Wekiva, Melania Salas. But first, checking into the game for Wekiva, number 6, Scarlett Farrington. Farrington, a natural leader on the JV team. She is, I believe, the only junior on the roster for the JV program. Nice short serve there, but the Trojans are able to get under it. Kill by Ashley Robinson. Service back to the Trojans. And the Trojans pick up an ace there. The Mustangs not able to get under that one. That's 5 aces tonight so far for Evans. And that is 5 out of their 8 points that they are leading right now. There's another one. The Mustangs just didn't even try to get under that. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 8, Cassidy Palmer. And that will take Robinson out. You saw Robinson and Asales on the last serve staring at each other, and neither one of them ultimately attacked. And here, number 20 there of the Trojans is a little late trying to get to the solo kill. And the Mustangs will get a freebie here. Checking into the game for Wekiva, number 7, Madeline Holmes. Next to serve for the Mustangs, Luis Concepcion. Ace for Concepcion. And a rough placement there on the pass from Asales. Players at the net really didn't have a chance at that one. Service back to the Trojans. Now 17 serving 9. The Mustangs need to find some rhythm here quickly, or this one's going to get away from them. JV contests are, of course, best of 3, so it takes 2 sets to win. And here we have an ace. We'll pause for an Evans substitution. Mustangs will let that one whiz by, and it does stay in bounds for another ace. That's her 3rd, and the team's 8th. Nice idea there from Farrington, but the accuracy is a little bit off and it's outside the sideline. The Mustangs will request their 2nd timeout of set number 1. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 21-9 is the score coming back from the Mustangs' 2nd timeout, and Mustangs very flat tonight. A lot of miscommunication, a lot of unforced errors, but that's just what the doctor ordered. Scarlett Farrington on the Mustangs' kill. Service returns to Wekiva. Next in the rotation, Cassidy Palmer. Boy, that's just the shot in the arm you need when you're down by more than a 2-1 margin. And Farrington comes through there, and this is just what we needed as well. Palmer on the ace. That was a fully playable serve, but the Trojans just not able to get under it. Palmer again comes in low and fast, and Palmer with back-to-back aces. So the Mustangs have been doing this from the beginning of the set. We could be looking at a very different scoreboard here, but as it stands, they still need to make up 9 points on the Trojans. Another good-looking serve and another ace. 3 consecutive aces for Cassidy Palmer. I don't know what coach said to them in the timeout, but whatever it was, it worked. Make it 4. And the Trojans will request their 1st timeout of set number 1. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Palmer's still in control of the service. The Trojans taking a timeout. Oh, it's another ace. Five consecutive aces for Cassidy Palmer. Boy, what a turn of events here. The Mustangs back to within 6. This one looked untenable for a moment there. 6 consecutive aces for Palmer. It's the tale of 2 sets. There was before the Mustangs' second timeout and after the Mustangs' second timeout. Service back to the Trojans. And so that one may have gone out. The world will never know, but the ruling by the line judge is that the Mustangs touched it on the way out. Nevertheless, the Mustangs certainly made up a lot of ground. Concepcion had a nice idea there, but just didn't have enough mustard on it. Mustangs barely managed to recover that one, and it'll pay off for them. Service returns to the Mustangs. 17 serving 23 for the Mustangs libero, Emily Harris. Service back to the Trojans. Set point, Evans. And so Mustangs have a lot to like out of the second half of this set, although unless they can, well, I ain't going to do it. The Trojans will end the set on an ace, and in spite of a valiant comeback effort by the Mustangs after their second timeout, the Trojans will hang on for a 25-17 victory in the first set, and they will take a 1-0 lead for the match over the Mustangs. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here with you once again for set number 2. The Mustangs have the opening service of the second set. Luis Concepcion leads the rotation for Wekiva. And so while the Mustangs ended up losing the previous set by 8, there was still a lot to like about what you saw there. If the Mustangs can continue the momentum that they had in the second half of that set, they could be very successful here. And that's just the way you want to start. The Mustangs open set number 2 with an ace from Luis Concepcion. Scarlett Farrington on the Mustang kill. Service returns to the Mustangs. Next in the rotation for Wekiva, Cassidy Palmer. Concepcion on the kill. Service returns to the Trojans. And a poor set there leaves the Trojan attacker with nowhere to go. Service back to the Mustangs. Serving as libero for Wekiva, Emily Harris. And the Trojans need 4 hits to get it over the net. Unfortunately for them, you only get 3. So another free, unforced error there. Give a point to the Mustangs. An attack error there by the Trojans, but the Mustangs up by 3. The Trojans request their first timeout of set number 2. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Trojans struggling here early in the second set as they are down 3, mostly thanks to unforced errors. And Harris's serve here is too low. She hit it late in the overhand progression. Service back to the Trojans. And number 7 there with a nice move, a nice tip kill. Perfect timing there, perfect opportunity. Saw an uncovered spot on the floor. The Mustangs had some blown coverage there and took perfect advantage of it. So the Trojans pulled it within 1, and a swing and a miss there from Jenna will tie the game. The serve was behind her, and she wasn't able to get back there. And Asales is off the mark there, and the Trojans will take the lead. The Trojans nick the net there. That's one of those things that you only wish you could do on purpose all the time, because it is very difficult to return those since they rapidly change speed and direction as they graze the net. Of course, 2 inches lower and it bounces right back into your half of the court. Casales again struggles to get the timing right, and the Trojans are now up 3. Currently on a 6-point run. And it's going to be 7 right here. A noble effort there by Concepcion trying to chase that one down, although it never really had a chance, since, of course, it was well outside the antenna. The Mustangs will take their first timeout of set number 2. And we are back. The Mustangs taking a timeout there as they are currently on a streak against them. Mustangs have not scored a point since they led 7-5. Excuse me, 7-4. Casales with the attack. And Asales again, a little bit too late there. It goes into the net. So the Mustangs now on a 0-8 run. And they'll get a break here as finally the Trojans blink and they make a mistake. Service back to the Mustangs, 8 serving 12 now. And next in the rotation for Wekiva, number 7, Madeline Holmes. Service back to the Trojans. At first, checking into the game for Wekiva, number 1, Valeria Valdez. Nice placement there by Palmer. Perfect set coming from Concepcion. And a poor set from the Trojans puts it right into the net. Never had a chance to return that one. Service back to the Mustangs. Next in the rotation for Wekiva. Jenna. Mustangs with an ace. Number 7 picks up a nice kill there. Service back to the Trojans. And the Trojans will just let that one fall, so the Mustangs catch a break here. Service returns to Wekiva. Next in the rotation for the Mustangs, Melania Salas. Couple short services in a row plaguing the Mustangs. Service returns to the Trojans. Checking into the game for Evans to serve, number 6. So the line judge initially ruled that out, but the tower referee ruled that to be in for an ace. Yeah, noble effort there, but Concepcion really didn't have a choice but to go into the net there. And another ace. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 3, Eileen De La Rosa. Scarlett Farrington on the kill. Service returns to the Mustangs. Checking into the game for Wekiva, number 7, Madeline Holmes. Next to serve, Luis Concepcion. Service back to the Trojans. Yeah, if that had landed inbounds, you could have argued a lift or a throw there. But it didn't matter anyway since it was out. Mustangs catch a break here. Too much heat on that serve. Now serving for the Mustangs, Cassidy Palmer. And muffed set there by the Trojans make that one impossible to attack. The Mustangs get a free point there. They now trail by 5. Palmer with an ace. Her 7th tonight. You remember she had a streak of those after the second time out of the first set. We'll pause here for a Trojan substitution. And nobody's home. Palmer, ace number 8. Mustangs trying to force a tiebreaker. And the Trojans just barely get there and nick the net. Service back to the Trojans. So this match is certainly not a lost cause for Wekiva, but they are going to have to move things along here pretty soon, as the Trojans are just 5 points away from claiming the match. Tip attempt is handled there by the Mustangs. Service back to the Mustangs. Next in the rotation for Wekiva to serve as libero, Emily Harris. This one has the right amount of strength but does not have the accuracy. Service back to the Trojans. And they are now 4 away from the match. And the set from J-Pack there cannot be sent over the net, and we go to a 22-17 lead for the Trojans. Nice pass there from Concepcion. That one very easily could have been an ace. And we got a solo kill. Melania Salas with a solo kill. It's her 2nd kill tonight. Service back to Wekiva. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 1, Valeria Valdez. And she'll have the next service. Valdez with an ace. We'll pause here for a Trojan substitution. Another good-looking serve. The Trojans couldn't do anything with it, but as Salas got in the way there at the net, too close to the net. Service back to the Trojans. And the placement allows for an easy solo kill opportunity. The Mustangs fortunately able to recover it, but they'll have to settle for a free ball going the other way. Good attack there, handled by Valdez in the backcourt. Valdez again in the backcourt. That was a little rough, but Concepcion was able to get there for the set. Mustangs will have to settle for a free ball, though. And too hot coming in. Service back to the Mustangs. Jenna J-Pack has the next service for Wekiva. And we thought we were going to have a sub here, but it was just a libero swap. Tip kill attempt. Concepcion is able to get there. And a bad set leaves number 4 there with no chance to get on the right side of the antenna. And too hot on the attack there. The Trojans could be their own undoing here. The Mustangs have not earned a lot of points in this set, but in spite of that, they are within 1. So far tonight, the Mustangs have 7 kills to their credit of the 39 points they put on the board between the 2 sets. Asala is almost, but just a little bit too hot. Service back to the Trojans. Match point, Evans. Foot faults. Service returns to the Mustangs. Next to serve for Wekiva, Melania Salas. And so the Mustangs still alive here. That takes us to the end of the set and to the end of the match. 25-23 is the final score of set number 2, and the Trojans will take the match 2-0. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for coming out this evening to support your Mustang and Trojan athletes. Don't go anywhere. Varsity volleyball action is coming your way right after the warm-up period. For those of you who are joining us online on YouTube, you will need to exit this webcast and get into our next one because they are 2 separate events. And of course, the original start time was published as 7 o'clock. Obviously, we'll need about 20 minutes for the warm-up. So look for the varsity match to be starting closer to about 7:15, 7:20 p.m. We will activate that live stream as soon as we are close to starting the game, and we hope that you will join us for that as well. For those of you in the arena, if you have friends and family who are not able to make it out in person tonight, whether they are a Mustang fan or a Trojan fan, we welcome them to join us online. We are live streaming tonight's events on both YouTube and the NFHS network. You can go to WekivaMustangs.com to get the links. Just look for the game on the schedule and click the little camera icon next to it. That'll take you there. Or if you've got a big screen TV at home and you want to pull it up on the big screen, you can do that as well. Just search Wekiva Sports from your YouTube player on your smart TV or your mobile device, and you can also find it there as well. And of course, if you are an NFHS network member, it is streaming there as well. Once again, thanks for joining us for JV Volleyball tonight. We'll be back for varsity in just a few moments.